Welcome to the Tech Days Munich. My name is Chris Geyer. I'm running the innovation and technology team within the BMW Group IT. And with my dear colleague Susanne Heger from the tech office Silicon Valley, we would like to present driving innovation capabilities within incumbent corporates. Thank you for sharing your valuable time with us. Let's start. Start with a statement of Thomas A. Edison: there's a way to do it better, find it. And this statement influences our daily work and also our vision statement. We as Team Innovation and Technology accelerate and bundle the company's innovative power and strengthen a culture of innovation as basis for turning good ideas, knowledge and technology into business value. There are a lot of strong statements behind that vision. So for example, accelerate and bundle. So we kickstart innovation activities and bundle initiatives in order to break down silos here. A center of practices turned out as good formats to bundle ideas. Strengthen a culture of innovation, so bringing a failure culture into the company, but also doing like hackathons, for example, in order to gain knowledge about new technology and always with business value in the background. Within our journey, innovation journey, in the past years, we identified major challenges. For example, not invented here, so therefore we are using BizDevOps in order to increase the same mindset within business and IT and join forces and have a common goal in mind. Competences and skills. So when we identify new promising technologies or innovations, we need to foster or ramp up skills quite fast and easily. Therefore, came up with the Silicon Valley Innovator Program, which is driven by Susanne Heger from the Tech Office Silicon Valley, or the Back to Code campus, where we train and educate our colleagues in order to work with new programming frameworks and languages. Resources in business and IT. So if you would like to scale and industrialize your innovations and your ideas, you need to allocate resources from business and IT to the right time, and therefore the agile development and BizDev is also a good way to allocate resources quite flexible. The point architectural design, so we work really a lot with cloud technologies, and that makes us easier to scale your applications more easily in comparison to on-premise landscapes. Our innovation process is simplified like this. So we work really closely together with business and IT, identifying the major challenges, collect them, doing like white spot analysis, competitor analysis, identify promising technologies within our tech radar and work them in our IT innovation network, and then transfer and scale that industrializations and contribute again to the business and IT strategy. The IT innovation network consists out of 4 pillars. For example, local innovation, that's our local team, should enable our DevOps teams in order to work with cutting edge technologies. But we're doing also a lot of research within the technology radar in order to identifying the right technologies or promising technologies for our teams, and should enable them to work with that technologies. The Global Innovation Network, so the tech offices are the most important part from my perspective. So we have 5 tech offices around the world. They are doing a lot of research and working with new technologies with the business together in order to develop really promising innovations. And Susanne Heger from the Tech Office Silicon Valley will tell something about their daily work. The BMW Startup Garage is responsible for startup corporations and easily onboard new startups to the BMW ecosystem. And last but not least, university corporations, where we work closely together with the MIT, Fraunhofer, TU München, Tongji, Tsinghua, for example, with topics for a more academic part. That's it from my side, and with this slide I would like to hand over to Susanne.
Thank you so much, Chris, and a warm welcome also from my side, Susanne Hieger from San Francisco. I would like to tell you a little bit more about what we do here in the Tech Office Silicon Valley and how we do it. So what we do here is we connect the BMW Group to the innovation ecosystem of the Silicon Valley, so all the startups, universities, tech companies, and so on. And we do that with three main activities. Number one, scouting and partnership development. Number two, actually implementing projects. And number three, evangelism and knowledge transfer. And I want to briefly talk about each one of these and about what we learned, how innovation works here. Coming to scouting and partnership development, the number one most heard sentence in this kind of field for me is let's meet. So learning number one, even though everything is about technology here, the collaboration and networking part is still very much focused on actually meeting in person. That's pre-COVID, of course. And number two is, this is very open. It's not, in every case, super target-driven, outcome-driven, let's meet with this agenda to reach that goal. It's about meeting as many people as possible, hearing as many ideas and thoughts as possible, and to invite a kind of exploratory element into your work, because that's how innovation works. It's about connecting different kinds of ideas very often. It's about getting inspiration and thus creating new ideas. So very open process. Meet as many people as possible. And then the people you meet, this is what they'll ask you. What is the problem you are trying to solve? Why are you doing what you're doing? So it's very focused here on the business value or the value for the world, how you make it a better place. It's not about, here's a technology, what should we do with it? It's always coming from the why. So you better have an answer to that. So when we do our project, which is the second pillar of our work, we do have that in mind. So by talking to a lot of people within the BMW Group and also a lot of people and companies here in the Silicon Valley, also about the why aspect, we did take all of that input and have a focus topic now, a focus area for our project portfolio for this year, which is machine learning on future infrastructure for the future of mobility. And for every one of our projects we have in this kind of portfolio, we do have a very clear answer on why do we do that? What's the value? So that is the second pillar, the project. And the third one is evangelism and knowledge transfer. So that is providing our knowledge back to the BMW Group. We do meet a lot of people. We hear about a lot of new technologies and research and ideas. And it is our task and our wish to transfer that back to the BMW Group to inspire innovation there and inspiration. So we do have a variety of formats, how we do that. And the most exciting one of those is the Silicon Valley Innovator Program. And I really hope that travel will be possible again soon into the US so we can get started with this. There we want to invite someone from the BMW Group with a very specific problem. Here to the Silicon Valley, we have a learning program set up with different kind of modules, how to set up an innovation network, innovation methods, new technologies, so on and so forth. And this person will work with us, learn about innovation, how to do it, will solve that problem, and then go back into their home department within the BMW Group and become an innovation ambassador there. So spread the word there, inspire innovation, talk about all the things they learned, keep the connections to people they made, and stay connected to the Silicon Valley, and thus sparking inspiration also in other parts of the BMW Group. So I'm very excited for that to finally get started. So to sum it up, there's a way to do it better, find it. How? Well, 3 main learnings. Be curious, invite chance into your daily work, listen to as many ideas as possible, ask why you do what you do, what's the business value, what's the bigger purpose, and be transparent with your work. Share your ideas, share your work, get feedback, inspire other people. Thank you very much for your attention.
So, hello and thank you very much for being here with the Corona Haircut. So today I want to talk a bit about why data is so critical to change our mobility behavior for good, and how mobility service providers can use it to push their sustainable mobility. We currently really see a seismic shift happening in the mindset and expectations of people driven by various trends, especially mobility. We see that people want to have the comfort and the convenience of the car with the ecological footprint of the bike. We value our time more than ever nowadays, and are used to really, from the digital environment, have a variety of choices. We at the same time have new players, new regulations, new laws, and of course new technologies that change the market and require us to rethink our value propositions in order to stay relevant with the users. So trends often really show us how societal needs and behaviors are changing. And data is here to help. It helps us to recognize the trends early on and react to it. So societal trends include, for example, urbanization with less and less car ownership and more congestion, with at the same time a trend of living a more sustainable life, increasing the own impact. All, of course, without compromising on convenience in mobility or others. And these societal needs and behaviors also influence the utility we have for mobility offerings and change the willingness to pay for different services or products. So not only how much we pay, but also how we pay for it. So shared mobility providers try to address this with various subscription and transactional models, long-haul, short-haul, micro-mobility. And especially when we look at the cars are only used around 4% of their time and still represent 76% of private transportation costs, 616 euros on average in Europe. When we ask people around it, most people really underestimate how much money they pay for their car per month. So but why are people still choosing the car? Are we not really able to offer a proper alternative, understand the true utility for the existing offering, or triggering their values? So one clear example what happens, here the example of O-Bike, when you don't match the values that are not directly visible to the people, is that it's sabotaged or simply not used. So data is really here to help. All the services and devices we use today create data that we can use to adapt our processes, improve our services, create new offerings. We can use it to really understand usage behavior, to improve our planning, or even simulate in a multi-model environment, like for example in a digital twin. It is really important to understand that to people today not only show us how they value our service by paying for it, but also by their willingness to share their data with us through usage. And with more and more choices and alternatives we have out there, we should really use it to help our users take the right choice, to really choose the more sustainable transport decisions based on their preferences. You can really use data to understand how people value comfort, time, ecological footprint, money, and also what trade-offs or opportunity costs they are willing to accept. Like, for example, between sustainability and their own convenience. What are they willing to accept? How can we find the right combination of different means of transport that really trigger the people? By how much are by how much are really people preferring time and convenience over transaction rewards like money or bonuses. So only by understanding what they value can we change behavior for good and develop the right offering for the right price beyond one single service. So, for example, we can really help them to make choices on a day-to-day life, like here we see. So, but how do I make sure that I continuously get the needed data as a company, and what can I do with the data? So no matter what your strategy, your offering, your services, there's basically a shared recipe for success. We previously talked a lot about utility and value that people have for your service, meaning that people need to like to use your service, feel understood, and their needs heard. We talked about preferences for sustainability, comfort, price, and more. If you clearly show that you take these to your heart and that you use the data to make services in an ecosystem fit to what they want, help users make decisions, they will love what you do and will love you for it. So there's no need for lock-in within your ecosystem. So once you give a promise, keep that promise to your customers and they will stick with you. And that's where the topic of trust comes in. Trust is one of the most important aspects when it comes to data nowadays. Trust is that you are a good shepherd for the data of your customers and act in your users' best interests. And trust is really the start of the data economy's virtuous cycle that I want to bring to you today. So people already have a certain trust in your service when people start to use it. So they try to maximize, really try to maximize the value of the data you have. Try to identify what can you learn from the existing data, how can you provide value to your customers. Try to really understand why are they taking the car over the bus. Is it because of comfort, availability, route, time, something else? Or is it just the lack of the right information? We, for example, worked with OEM in plug-in found out that the plug-in hybrid, that the wrong plug-in hybrid electric vehicles were sold to the wrong kind of customers. We could adapt and target and find the right combination of products. And of course, also use your internal data, use it to contextualize, use it to improve your user experience before generating even more data. Some examples where this has been done, for example, is the city of Helsinki that used OpenCity API data, WeChat data, and other existing data to find the right combination of services for the right parts of the city to give people proper alternatives to owning a car. And BlaBlaCar does the same to improve matching and riding and routing and so on. And other B2B services also use it to do data-driven analysis from different services, do planning, do simulation and so on. Really important to use the data you already have before asking for more. And then, of course, once you maximize the value of the existing data, it's about increasing the trust and loyalty of people by showing them that it's really worth sharing their data with you and that it's in their own interest. You can look at it like a bit like a trust battery, where it's somehow charged at the beginning, it's a bit charged, and you really can identify along your customer journey and the different touch points the triggers that really load this battery, that load the trust. And of course you need to formulate your data handling processes to prioritize trust. You need to know where you have to be careful and how users can stay in control of their data. We, for example, had the trust where we tried to track passengers between different means of transport with anonymous wireless tracking, pinging, and we really tried to be transparent, communicate it, and really show them that they profit from this fact, that we optimize the transport for them. Because you really don't want to lose the trust of people. And being able to do so helps you to increase your data maturity and helps you really to help your customer make better decisions. Some examples, for example, are in Luxembourg, mobility.lu tries to help you take the decision between different means of transport based on sustainability, price, comfort, and time. And with these small leaves here, it shows. And really also tries with more data to make better suggestions and even suggestion based on your profile. And of course, this can also be used internally. For example, Moya uses it to improve the interaction with employees, really help them make better decisions. And then, of course, once you have the trust of users, don't lose it. Keep it safe, like your biggest treasure, and really try to put everything in place to keep security up throughout all your touch points. As cited in The Economist, the biggest threat today is to lose your market share of mind. And data governance is really one of the most important tasks in the future. And once you then have decided on your virtuous cycle in the data economy, it's up also to you on deciding how far do you want to be part of your customer's world. Do you want to really be only in the mobility, or do you want to be part of their whole life? And if we want to help society to become more sustainable, you identify really where you can help your users making the right choice and by respecting their needs and their values across it. And this is basically the recipe on how you manage to find the right level of engagement with your users, understand them, provide them the value with the existing or new services in exchange for their data and trust, and then help them really make the right decisions for their needs. We see that it's an upcoming trend currently. This circle of trust, value and data becomes more and more important the more different services we have in the market. The charts here really clearly show that data and mobility management is really a trend for the future. And then, of course, last point, I will not go into detail here, you also not only need to understand your customers, but also build the right capabilities within the companies. And then finally, to stay really relevant, you need to master both the mobility and the data ecosystem, really be a partner for your customers. So, thank you very much.